I'm Dr. Mike Totola, and I'd like to welcome you to Passion for Perfection, a German Obsession, sponsored by VHF, whose dental and laboratory mills are German designed, engineered, and built. Apple CEO Tim Cook enlisted a German company to design and build all the furnishings for Apple's world headquarters remodeling project in Cupertino. When asked why he chose a German company, Cook simply said, "There is nothing in the world like German craftsmanship." Now it's time for a segment we like to call Germansplaining. Germansplaining is the segment where I, as a non-German, explain to you the essence of the heart and soul of Germany. Would it make more sense if I was doing this because I was German? Of course, but then it wouldn't be Germansplaining. Today's German obsession? Beer. And not surprisingly, Germans take their beer very seriously. And there is, of course, a German word for it, Bierernst, which means deadly serious in German, but literally translates to beer serious in English. It's kind of like in English when somebody says, "Are you serious?" and the other person replies, "Serious as a heart attack." Except in Germany, they say serious as beer, which I think I like a lot better. It's way less morbid. They have another word, Reinheitsgebot, which is the German beer purity law introduced in 1516 by Duke Wilhelm IV of Bavaria. This decree allows for only hops, barley, water, and yeast in every bottle, and it served Germany very well for over 500 years. But some in the industry wonder if it's time to expand the law, and that's because the 5 largest German breweries hold a global market share of just 2% between them, which is weird for a global exporting powerhouse like Germany. But with the worldwide craft beer movement and other countries' abilities to add, say, orange peel or coriander to a beer, some German breweries feel like the purity law ties their hands. Regardless, Germany has more than 1,500 breweries and 6,000 different brands of beer. Now, I'm no Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, but I'm pretty sure that means you could drink a different German beer every day for more than 16 years without having the same beer twice, all with just 4 ingredients. Now it's time for another installment of Phenom Mill Now Conversations, where we talk to the leaders in digital dentistry. August, thank you so much for deciding to spend some time with us today.
Oh, thanks for the invite.
Well, one of the great things about the VHF story is that it's an open system. So you or your dealer can pair it with any intraoral scanner. For example, you come from a closed system background, where you were working in a system that didn't allow that, didn't give you that freedom of choice. Talk to me a little bit about what it's been like to transition to an open system.
Yeah, it's actually been pretty easy. I mean, I've been in a closed system for so long. Everything is sort of felt out for you and everything is fine. But, over the course of the years, there are certain aspects of CADCAM dentistry that dentists want to venture out to, which may not be available in closed systems. What attracted me the most to VHF was that it could mill titanium abutments. So a titanium abutment blank is about $40. And so I can scan with any scanner I want, scan bodies that are not closed system scan bodies, and mill out my own titanium abutments in about a half an hour. So that was a really cool aspect of the open source. Now, if you keep everything closed, if you keep everything like an iPhone, there's no variability. And so, if you deal with an open source, it's like Windows. You've got more options, but there's more buttons. So that aspect of being in an open source, importing an STL and that kind of stuff is not as bad as you think. I mean, you open up Word documents and import, pictures. There's nothing different between that and importing an STL into another system. I think certain proponents of closed systems try to make it sound like, you need a degree in math and, computer science to do that. It's like, copy STL to this folder, open it. Hey, we got it going on. So not that hard.
And certainly there's been a lot of thought, given by the software companies, that are working, that are also open, that are going to try to pair this scanner with this mill to make sure that it's going to be easy to do too, so you don't need a PhD,
Right.
in computer technology to be able to operate these systems. You mentioned titanium, but it'll also, you can put zirconia in there, you can put composite, wax, glass, ceramics. I'm interested, what other materials are you using in your Z4?
Well, primarily Emax. One of the really cool things about the Z4 mill is it really works with any block. So one aspect of the closed system that I was working with is you needed specific abutment blocks with specific screw holes, and you were limited to where that screw hole was. And one of the great things about the VHF mill is I can use any Emax block, I can use any Empress or Enamic or Zirconia block, and I can do a screw-retained crown. So we're not limited by this block with a hole in it.
And by purchasing the standard blocks, they're obviously more affordable than
hell yeah.
the meso blocks that already have that screw channel in there. But like you said, it gives you the freedom to position it wherever you want, any material you want. We had the opportunity to talk with John Sorensen, who did a bunch of testing on drilling those screw channels through the blocks and showed that the material holds up very well. So it is nice to have that ability to be able to do that. How long have you had your Z4 mill?
I've had it for 2 years now.
And you've had a chance to really put it through its paces, and you like how's the maintenance been? How has anything else been with it? Just dealing with it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's great. One thing that's kind of cool is it actually doesn't even take distilled water. It just takes purified water. So you don't have to be that careful with the water you put in. You don't have to put in oil, sort of like the other closed system I used. I think what's really cool is the choice of burrs. So in the system I used, it had 4 motors and 4 different burrs, but they were of a limited size. So this has a gazillion little burrs, and it's a cool little robot that picks up individual burrs. And the anatomy is out of control, because the burr size is so tiny. It just switches off to a really tiny burr to do, a tertiary fissure that I can stain to make it look like it has a cavity.
Oh, that's amazing. It's really nice to be able to have something that's going to give you that level of detail in your restorations, because you're certainly somebody who appreciates that. So you're doing titanium abutments. Where do you find yourself doing these titanium abutments most of the time? Like, which workflow are you doing them just in posteriors, or do you find yourself doing them anterior still? Where do you fall on this versus, say, a lithium disilicate?
Yeah, anteriors I would prefer to do zirconia, just for the aesthetics. People could argue with me about that. So I'm mainly doing posterior. But I've tried 2 brands, NT Trading and also DES, and they both work really well. And again, $40. I mean, you really can't beat it. And actually using it as an alternative to tie bases, so we have more support for the restoration, better emergence profile. We can place the junction between the restoration and the tie base wherever, or the abutment wherever we want it. Whereas with tie bases, especially the closed system tie bases, it's right on the bone. So this also gives you a lot of variability.
One of the things I hear a lot from dentists who are considering getting involved in chairside CAD-CAM dentistry is the price always seems to be a stumbling block for them. And that's part of the promise, I think, of this open architecture, where you can take, like I know, for example, that you use the 3-shape Trio scanner a lot, and you take that and pair that with a VHF mill. Talk to me about where that kind of falls in the price range versus maybe a closed system that would be available on the market as well.
Yeah, the closed systems, depending on the package you get, run between $150,000 and $180,000. Whether you get Medit or a Trios 3 or some other scanner, you're really looking all in, realistically, with software and all that jazz, maybe a porcelain furnace, you're looking at about $65,000 to $70,000. So basically you can buy 2 of a paired VHF system for one of the closed system. So I think that's pretty great for dentists who want to get into CAD-CAM.
Right. And probably 10 years ago, if I would have asked you that same question, it feels like you might have been out on a ledge if you were trying to pair this manufacturer scanner with this mill and maybe the mill company or the scanner company was trying to write a piece of software to patch them together. So 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't have recommended going out there. But today, it sounds like you're able to use this as seamlessly and as easily as you would any other system.
Absolutely. And exocad chairside and Trios chairside design studio literally have, flows with the scanner. So you open it up, you hit scan, it goes to your Medit, or within the Trios workflow, it's exactly like the closed system. So there is no porting out and porting back. You're in it till you mill. And of course, the exocad chairside and Trios chairside, there's the mill preview where you see your restoration in the block. So you're not exporting to a CAM software and learning all about the weirdness of CAM. It's all very nice and tidy. So very closed system-ish, however, open enough to where you can import any scanner you want.
Well, August, anytime I get a chance to talk chairside CAD-CAM or 3D printing or guided implant surgery, you're always the guy I want to talk to because you've spent this is what you do. You've just totally focused in on those topics. So thank you again for coming on and spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much.
Passion for Perfection is brought to you by VHF, designed, engineered, and built in Germany. VHF takes their motto seriously, creating perfection. Their obsession with creating the perfect machines, tools, and software is to enable their customers to pursue creating clinical perfection for their patients. Their open system allows you or your dealer to pair your VHF mill with the best scanner and design or CAD software for seamless workflows in your practice. And by manufacturing the mills and the tools themselves and always including their CAM software at no additional charge, VHF allows clinicians to own a state-of-the-art complete CAD-CAM system at about half the cost of other popular CAD-CAM solutions in the market. Go to VHF.com to see how you can begin creating perfection. Well, that'll wrap it up for this episode. So on behalf of myself, Practice Passion, and VHF, how about we shut the front door and start milling?